Alright guys, Tex and Brad back here with another how-to. This time we're going to look at the switch setter. What is it? What does it do? How does it work? What do the options mean? And what mounts does it fit on? So the switch setter is a gadget that features settings for detection range, direction of operation, and whether it should display the next switch in absolute orientation or relative to the direction of travel. Those are usually the two settings that confuses people. You can get it for $3,500 from the shop at the machine factory. So it fits on just about any mount. The big H, the little H, the stand-up mount with the short base. Get it orientated right. You see the green outline, so that means it's good. The stand-up mount with the long base. Again, let me get the right orientation. You can see it. It works on the medium mount, it works on the long mount, and it works on the long mount with the base, with that little base behind it. So you can see it's turning green with all of them. Now, the only exception is this small mount. It works with the small mount, however, it only mounts on the sides. You cannot get it to mount flat. So when you're putting it up, make sure you got it facing the right way, and you want to solder it in. Gotta have power. So what do these settings mean? What do they do? Okay, so at first you have a distance. So you go from 50 to 300 meters. So it depends on how far ahead do you want it to read the switches. So if you're going down the rails, you're blazing at 90 kilometers an hour, you want it to read 300 meters in front of you, so you have enough time to whip out your radio and say you're on a different setting, so you want to have enough time to get it back to your switch so you can flip it real quick. Or if you live on a dangerous side, do it at 50 meters and then sit there and scroll through your little radio menu and hope you catch it in time. So besides your distance, you have your orientation, which you have your forward, and then your reverse or auto in the middle. And in your mode, your relative and absolute. So the difference with these guys is absolute. If you set it to absolute, it depends on which way your engine is facing. So with my engine facing this direction, I'm only going to read signs that are ahead of me. So let's flip the engine around. Then I would only read signs that were ahead of me in that direction. So it just depends on which direction your engine is facing. Probably best to leave it on relative, because relative depends on which way your reverser is facing. If your reverser is in the forward position, you're going to read signs ahead of you. If your reverser is in the reverse position, then you're going to read signs that are behind you, regardless of which direction your locomotive is facing. So probably best just to leave it in relative mode and then leave it on auto. And then just depending on how dangerous you live your Derail Valley life, depends on how far you want the distance. So if I set it to 50, it's not reading anything because the sign right here is more than 50 meters away from me. And the one behind me is more than 50 meters away from me. However, if I put it on 100, now you see that you get this. So this says, hey, I recognize a sign and is pointing to the right. So if I continue to go, I'm going to go to the right. Now if I switch that sign, you'll see here, hey, I'm still reading a sign and it's going to the left. Or you can click the button in the middle and it will switch the sign for you. You do that on this way. You see how it switches the sign for you? So that's how that works. If you have it in absolute mode, then anything that is at the front of your locomotive, that's going to be the sign that it reads. So doesn't matter how far ahead you put it, it's going to read the next sign in line. So put it back down to 100 here. Now let's put it in relative with reverse. Now you see that this sign back here is more than 100 meters away from me, so it's not seeing it. Let's try 150. No, still too far. 200. There it goes. Now it finally read that sign back there. See how it's pointing to the right? Not the one behind it, but this first one. So if we go over here and we click it, now you see that sign is to the left. Click it back, and it goes back to the right again. So that's pretty much how the switch setter works. It's fairly simple. Once you get the hang of it, it's fairly simple. Even at 300 meters, it's still going to read the first sign that comes up. Once you pass that one, the next one that comes up to 300 meters away, is what it's going to read. So if you are backing up and you have a consist that is longer than 300 meters, the switch setter is not going to be a friend for you because it can only go up to 300 meters. So if you have a consist that's 800 meters long, the end of your consist is going to end up on the other lane that you don't want it to go to if you're trying to change the direction of the switch. So you're going to have 500 meters of your train consist in a whole different lane than what you want. And when you go to hit that, it's going to split your train or your consist, and you have a chance of derailing and all of that stuff. So if you have anything longer than 300, the switch setter is not your friend. If you're backing up, if you're going forward, it's your best friend in the world because it don't matter because you're right here at the front. So you can leave it at 50 if you want to live dangerously and switch your switches on the fly, or bump them up a little bit. Go to 150. Go to 300 if you want. That way, say you're out here going through the harbor and you're going up to the steel mill. So when you start getting up to this little Y right here, when you're coming around this corner and getting up on this little straightaway right there, the closest, when you're about 300 meters away from it, and I think about right in there, it's going to start picking those signs up. So at that point in time, you can hit the sign if you want to go, the sign is to the left, so you can hit it, so you can go to the right and go right into the steel mill and not have to worry about it. But if you do it at 50 meters, you're going to be right up on that sign. I mean, like real close to it. So you may or may not get it in time, and you may or may not, guess it, derail. So that's pretty much it for the switch setter. It can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. Now let's give you a little demo here. So if I'm at 100 meters, it's picking this one up, correct? So it hit the switch, it changes. So let's go backward because we're on relative. So now it's going to look far behind me. Let's go ahead and back up. There it is. You heard the beep. We don't want to go over there in that left-hand lane. We want to go in the right-hand lane. So I'm going to hit it real quick. And you see it changed it. So now we're going to go over here into this other lane. To the right. And then this one is going to see, you heard it beep again because it picked up the next one right there. And it's going to send us right into that middle. You can do the same thing going forward. Alright, we're going to go to the right. Nope, I want to go to the left. Don't worry guys, I like to live on the dangerous side too. Alright, I heard the sign click, so we're going to go ahead and stop. Now with my reverse and forward position, if I change the switch setter to the rear, it's automatically going to pick this sign up right there. That's the sign it's looking at. because now I have my orientation set to the rear. So if you want to go by just solely by which direction your reverser is in, leave it on auto. And that will depend on which direction your reverser is in. So when I go back, you see it picked up the rear. So at this point, the rear option is pointless at this. So if I hit it on forward, it's going to take it away because it doesn't see anything within the 100-meter range. So if I bump it up to 200, it's going to pick up the Y signal right there. As you can see, if I hit the switch, it changes sides. And that's pretty much it. It can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy, depending on how long your train consist is. So if I didn't want to go back into the C yard, I just flip the switch up there, give it some power. We'll bypass the C yard right there. And the next one is going to send me into the G yard and the D yard. And if I don't want to go into either one of those, I'll wait for it to beep and I'll flip it. So as we're going back, wait for it to come in range. There it is. We'll flip it. Now we're going towards E yard. And that's pretty much it. You guys have any questions, comments? Feel free to ask them down in the comments. I will be glad and happy to answer anything that I can. I hope that pretty much covers the switch setter. If you're confused about anything, just let me know. I'll try to clarify it for you. And as always, please like, please subscribe, and see you next time.